Welcome back to Destination Pro Wrestling. I'm your boy Ango, and today we have a massive update on the AEW Backstage morale. Things are looking really good for AEW, and right now we actually have another story about a WWE superstar who is very unhappy with his creative booking in WWE. Also today we know after watching Extreme Rules that WWE has some massive plans in response to Bray Wyatt potentially going to AEW. And yes, it does involve Alexa Bliss. And yes, things are about to get really wacky. But the real question is, will it work? That's what I want to know. We're going to talk about it in today's video. My name is Ango, Destination PW. Don't forget to join us on Discord. Click that subscribe button, ring that bell. Plenty of great things happening to the channel, and I appreciate your guys' support. Now, with that being said, we're going to talk a little bit about the WWE versus AEW Backstage morale. And first, we're talking about AEW. A lot of times, this type of stuff hasn't actually been talked about, and mostly due to the fact that AEW continues to do a really, really good job with just making people happy. Like, don't get me wrong, every job, there's not going to be 100% satisfaction rate. And I'm sure, you know, despite it not being reported, I'm sure there's a couple people in AEW who aren't happy. That's possible. It's natural. It goes with the way things work in this life. But nonetheless, we know that it's actually been said AEW's backstage morale has been incredibly high right now. A lot of people are very happy with the decisions the company is making, the way that they're being utilized, the way they're being offered the chance to give input to their matches. One thing that a lot of people actually don't talk about when it comes to AEW is that these guys also have abilities to go work, in the indies or work for like Impact or New Japan or whatever it may be. So that's actually been a big pro for a lot of the wrestlers. But a lot of the backstage morale has increased, honestly, since the handling of Brody Lee's death. And this is something that gets talked about quite a bit from like CM Punk and Bryan Danielson, hearing how well AEW handled that. It just goes to show you, AEW really is a company for its people. AEW does a really good job for its people, even despite the shortcomings that the company has. People are still happy to be there. And I think that is the key difference when you look at AEW versus WWE, because now we know that there is another WWE superstar who is unhappy in WWE. And I know you guys don't like this conversation of this person should go to AEW, but let's be honest, this person would be far better off in AEW than WWE, and that is Ricochet. Guys, it's not rocket science, okay? Ricochet has been in WWE for a couple years now, and you could just tell it's the same thing that WWE has had with other guys from the indies. WWE is afraid to commit to Ricochet. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not going to sit here and say that Ricochet is the most charismatic character in WWE, because to be honest with you, I don't know what his character even is. But what I do know is that Ricochet is an incredible high flyer, an incredible in-ring athlete. And while he may not have the skills on the microphone that I would like to see from a pro wrestler, I do think it is a huge mistake for WWE to not use Ricochet. And it's very interesting. We know that Ricochet has tweeted things before, and he's been frustrated before. He recently liked a tweet on Twitter about WWE's. Basically, it was a tweet that was mocking WWE's Extreme Rules pay-per-view. And it's just like, these are the type of things that people don't realize. Like, they're kind of restricted in what they can say and what they can do. But when they're unhappy, man, you're going to know that they're unhappy. And it also doesn't take a genius to know that within WWE and AEW, if you're a talent in AEW that's not being utilized, I guarantee the happiness is far more higher than whatever it is in WWE. Because if you're not being utilized in AEW, at least you're surrounded by a good culture where the people are truly together. In WWE, it's not like that. And I think Ricochet at some point does have to leave WWE. And truthfully, I think he will leave WWE at some point. I don't know when his contract expires. I'm not even going to bother to look it up. But I do think that Ricochet leaves. And whether or not he goes to Impact or AEW or New Japan, whatever it may be, he'll be far happier. And I think a lot of wrestlers will be a lot happier. And that's not a bad thing against WWE. It's just WWE needs to really understand why backstage morale matters. It does matter, okay? It really does. Now, the final story that I want to talk about today is Alexa Bliss and the Fiend, because if you guys don't know, WWE has some major plans for Alexa Bliss, and this is reportedly in response to AEW bringing in Bray Wyatt. And here's the thing, we don't even know if Bray Wyatt to AEW is like 1,000,000% confirmed. We just know that there's been talks, but WWE has very well committed. They very much committed to this character for Alexa Bliss. And we saw Alexa Bliss lose last night at Extreme Rules, and then we got some theatrics, and we know that the Lily doll is dead. But basically what's being said is AEW and, you know, whatever they do with Bray Wyatt is going to be something that WWE pays attention to greatly. And that's going to be WWE's way to rival it. We've seen them do this stuff with Alexa Bliss. I don't know if I truly believe that it's in response to AEW or not. But now they're like fully committed to it, because now we know that Alexa Bliss will be getting a mask at some point, and that's kind of what they've been teasing with Alexa Bliss becoming this character, and that's why wins and losses don't matter for Alexa Bliss, just like they didn't matter for Bray Wyatt. I think it is a very unique situation. If you guys saw the thumbnail of this video, you guys would know that the image of Alexa Bliss mask was like, that's like a concept. I don't know what the hell WWE is going to do here. I don't even know if I have enough intrigue in it. I loved Bray Wyatt in WWE. I know a lot of people didn't like the theatrics of Bray Wyatt. I personally did. And I just think the Alexa Bliss stuff comes off cringy and corny, and I don't know if it's meant for me. I don't get it. But think about it. If Bray Wyatt goes to AEW and becomes the Fiend or a new variation of the Fiend, WWE has their own version. WWE is going to do stuff that AEW won't do. AEW will do stuff with a character that WWE won't do. I mean, it really creates for a competitive show. But I wanted to point this out. I don't like the idea of wrestling companies reacting to each other every single day. You know, I think it's important for people to realize once you start getting to the point where every decision is reactionary, your mentality is no longer about producing a better show. It's about creating a better moment than the other company. And that's what I didn't like about Wednesday Night Wars. It's what I didn't like about Monday Night Wars. It's what I don't like about AEW and WWE right now. They're both wrestling shows that they don't need to do that, okay? That's my point, is they don't need to do that. But nonetheless, let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. What are your guys' expectations for Bray Wyatt and AEW? What are your expectations for Alexa Bliss going forward? I want to know what you guys think in the comment section down below, and I'll see you guys next time. Take care.